The soft hum of medical equipment created a false sense of calm aboard the UNHS Nightingale. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge, her dark eyes scanning the holographic displays that mapped the intricate humanitarian corridors of the Epsilon Eridani system. The medical vessel was more than just a ship. It was a lifeline for thousands of refugees and wounded individuals caught in the crossfire of multiple interstellar conflicts. Dr. Marcus Chen, the chief medical officer, approached her with a datapad showing the latest patient statistics. "We're at maximum capacity," he said, his voice a mixture of professional calm and underlying tension. 60% of our patients are from the recent Proxima Centauri relief effort. Many are critically wounded civilians. Elena nodded, understanding the weight of their mission. The Nightingale was not just a medical ship, but a symbol of humanity's commitment to preserving life, even in the most challenging circumstances. Advanced medical nanite systems lined the walls of the extensive medical bays, ready to perform intricate surgeries and provide life-saving treatments to beings from multiple species. The ship's design was a marvel of humanitarian engineering. Multiple species-specific medical zones allowed for specialized care, with adaptive environmental systems that could instantly recalibrate to support the unique physiological needs of different species. From the delicate atmospheric requirements of the silicon-based Kepler refugees to the complex circulatory needs of the methane-breathing Triton survivors, the Nightingale represented the pinnacle of medical innovation and compassionate design. Lieutenant Sarah Williams monitored the long-range sensor arrays, her fingers dancing across holographic interfaces. Suddenly, a sharp alert cut through the ambient medical sounds. "Captain," she called out, her voice sharp with sudden tension. "Multiple weapon signatures detected. Incoming." Elena's training kicked in immediately. Shields up. Prepare emergency medical evacuation protocols. Her voice remained steady, a beacon of calm in the rapidly escalating situation. But the attack was unlike anything they had anticipated. Precision energy weapons, far more advanced than standard military-grade technology, began to slice through the Nightingale's defensive systems with terrifying efficiency. The first strike targeted the primary medical bay, where the most critically injured patients were being treated. Dr. Chen was mid-surgery when the first blast hit. Advanced medical nanites tried desperately to stabilize the patient, but the precision of the attack was overwhelming. Medical equipment erupted in cascading failure, life support systems collapsing in rapid succession. The screams of patients and medical staff began to fill the corridors. Elena watched in horror as the ship's defensive systems, designed to protect vulnerable patients, were systematically neutralized. It wasn't just an attack, it was a calculated destruction of everything the Nightingale represented. The ship's humanitarian mission, its commitment to saving lives regardless of species or origin, was being methodically dismantled. Lieutenant Williams continued to call out target coordinates, her voice becoming increasingly desperate. Multiple weapon platforms targeting our medical zones. They're not just attacking, they are specifically focusing on patient areas. The attack lasted mere minutes, but its impact would resonate far beyond the physical destruction. Hundreds of patients, medical personnel, and support staff were caught in a horrifying moment of vulnerability. Beings who had survived multiple conflicts, who had been brought back from the brink of death, were now facing an inexplicable and ruthless assault. As system after system failed, Captain Rodriguez made a final, critical transmission. Her voice was calm, but laden with the weight of what was happening. "This is Captain Elena Rodriguez of the UNHS Nightingale. We are under deliberate attack. Multiple civilian and medical personnel casualties. requesting immediate assistance. The transmission cut out as another precision strike tore through the ship's communication systems. The Nightingale, once a beacon of hope and healing, was being reduced to nothing more than floating debris in the vast emptiness of space. In those few moments, something fundamental changed. This was not just an attack on a ship, but an assault on the very principles of humanitarian effort. The precise, calculated nature of the destruction suggested something far more sinister than a simple military engagement. The silence that followed was deafening, a stark contrast to the chaos that had just unfolded. The Nightingale, a testament to humanity's commitment to preservation and care, was now a graveyard of shattered hopes and broken promises. The first images of the Nightingale's destruction reached Earth at 3:47 hours Universal Coordinated Time. Within moments, the transmission spread across every communication network, holographic display, and personal device on the planet. What began as a distant tragedy quickly transformed into a moment of collective awakening. In the United Nations Emergency Response Center, a massive circular chamber filled with holographic displays and real-time data streams, silence fell as the initial reports came in. Director Uja Okik, a veteran diplomat with decades of interstellar negotiation experience, stood perfectly still. Her dark eyes reflected the shifting images of the destroyed medical vessel, a ship that represented the best of humanity's humanitarian efforts. "Verify the source," she commanded, her voice cutting through the stunned atmosphere. Dozens of analysts worked simultaneously, cross-referencing every piece of incoming data. The precision of the attack, the deliberate targeting of medical facilities, spoke of something far more calculated than a typical military engagement. Dr. Robert Chen, no relation to the medical officer aboard the Nightingale, began compiling a comprehensive report. As the chief scientific advisor to the UN Interstellar Coordination Bureau, he understood the broader implications immediately. The attack wasn't just an assault on a single ship, but a direct challenge to humanity's principles of compassionate intervention. Across the globe, reaction began to take shape. Unlike previous generations that might have responded with immediate, uncontrolled aggression, this response was different. Universities, research centers, and military think tanks began a coordinated analysis. Every piece of available data was pulled, examined, and cross-referenced. In Tokyo, a team of quantum computing experts began running complex simulations. Their advanced systems started breaking down the attack's signature, analyzing weapon technologies, and mapping potential origin points. Meanwhile, in Sao Paulo, a diverse group of skenosociologists and strategic analysts began constructing potential motivations behind the attack. The global response was not just a military preparation, but a comprehensive mobilization of human intellectual and technological resources. Social media platforms, typically spaces of personal communication, transformed into collaborative research networks. Citizens with specialized knowledge began contributing to the collective analysis. Universities worldwide suspended regular operations. Research teams that had been working on discrete projects now found themselves part of a global effort to understand the attack. Quantum physicists worked alongside xenobiologists. Computer scientists collaborated with diplomatic historians, creating an unprecedented cross-disciplinary approach. Director Okik watched as the first comprehensive report began to take shape. The data revealed something disturbing. The attack on the Nightingale was not a random act of aggression, but a carefully planned operation. Weapon signatures suggested technologies far beyond what had been previously detected from known spacefaring civilizations. "We're dealing with something more than a simple military engagement," Dr. Chen noted, his fingers dancing across a holographic interface. The precision, the specific targeting of medical facilities, this suggests an intelligence with a very specific objective. Military preparations began, but not in the traditional sense. Instead of immediate mobilization of weapon systems, the first response was information gathering. Diplomatic channels were activated, communication networks were put on high alert. Every deep space listening post, every quantum communication relay began collecting and analyzing data. In orbit, Earth's defensive satellite network came to full alert. These were not simple weapon platforms, but complex systems of observation and potential response. Adaptive quantum encryption systems began creating multiple layers of communication security, preparing for potential further aggression. The United Nations Emergency Response Council convened within hours of the initial report. Representatives from every member state participated, not through traditional physical presence, but through advanced holographic communication systems that allowed for instantaneous, secure global collaboration. "We will not respond with blind rage," Director O'Keefe stated, her voice transmitted globally. "Our response will be measured, intelligent, and proportional. We will first understand, then act." This was humanity's true strength, not just in technological capability, but in collective intelligence. The attack on the Nightingale had touched something fundamental. It was an assault not just on a ship, but on the principles of compassion, care, and humanitarian intervention that humanity had worked generations to develop. As the first day of response drew to a close, something was becoming clear. This was not going to be a simple conflict. This was going to be a comprehensive demonstration of human capability, intellectual, technological, and moral. The universe was about to learn something important about humanity, and the lesson would be delivered with precision, intelligence, and an unwavering commitment to the principles that defined their civilization. Deep within the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, a network of hidden shipyards hummed to life. These were not simple manufacturing facilities, but the most advanced technological complexes humanity had ever constructed. Each shipyard represented decades of careful planning, technological innovation, and strategic foresight. Dr. Elena Volkov, chief architect of the Adaptive Manufacturing Program, watched as the first systems began to activate. Her team had spent years developing technologies that could transform raw materials with unprecedented speed and precision. The shipyards were more than just construction sites. They were living, breathing ecosystems of technological innovation. Quantum adaptive manufacturing systems began their intricate dance. Massive robotic arms, guided by advanced artificial intelligence, moved with a fluidity that seemed almost organic. Nanite construction units worked simultaneously at microscopic and macroscopic scales, breaking down raw materials and reconstructing them into advanced spacecraft components. The first vessel to emerge was unlike anything humanity had previously revealed. The ISV Prometheus represented a quantum leap in spaceship design. Its hull was composed of adaptive metamaterials that could instantly reconfigure based on environmental challenges. Quantum-locked energy systems provided power generation capabilities that defied previous understanding of physics. In orbital research stations surrounding Earth, teams of scientists and engineers had been preparing for this moment. Dr. Jackson Williams, head of the Interstellar Defense Innovation Center, oversaw the final calibrations of the ship's advanced systems. "We're not just building a vessel," he told his team. "We're creating a statement about human potential." The Prometheus's weapon systems were equally revolutionary. Instead of traditional energy weapons, the ship utilized quantum entanglement technology that could potentially disable enemy systems from vast distances. Adaptive targeting systems could predict and counter defensive maneuvers with mathematical precision that bordered on predictive intelligence. Beneath the Earth's surface, additional preparation was underway. A network of underground facilities, developed over decades, began mobilizing. These were not simple military bunkers, but comprehensive research and development centers that had been quietly advancing human technological capabilities. Dr. Mai Lin, director of the Global Strategic Resources Initiative, coordinated the activation of these hidden resources. Entire manufacturing complexes that had been dormant for years now sprang to life. Advanced material sciences, quantum computing, and adaptive engineering converged in a display of human ingenuity. The shipyards were just the beginning. Satellite networks recalibrated, their sensors becoming more precise and interconnected. Quantum communication relays created a web of information exchange that could transmit data faster than any known civilization could intercept or understand. In the Antarctic Research Complex, a team of xenotechnology experts began analyzing the weapon signatures from the attack on the Nightingale. Every piece of data was fed into increasingly sophisticated analytical systems. Machine learning algorithms worked alongside human researchers, creating a hybrid intelligence that could process information at unprecedented speeds. The preparation was not just technological, but deeply strategic. Diplomatic channels remained open, but they were now backed by a comprehensive demonstration of human capability. Every system, every facility, every piece of technology was now oriented toward a single objective: understanding the threat and preparing a measured, precise response. Dr. Volkov watched as the Prometheus completed its initial systems check. The ship was more than a weapon. It was a testament to human adaptability. Its adaptive hull could reconfigure to handle multiple environmental challenges. Internal systems could repair themselves, with nanite networks working continuously to maintain optimal performance. "We've been preparing for this moment for generations," she muttered to herself, watching the holographic displays that showed the ship's intricate systems coming online. The attack on the Nightingale had accelerated a process that had been decades in the making. Communication networks began to pulse with carefully controlled information. Military and scientific communities worked in perfect synchronization, sharing data through quantum-encrypted channels that were virtually impossible to intercept or decode. The hidden potential of humanity was about to be revealed, not as a show of aggressive force, but as a comprehensive demonstration of technological, strategic, and intellectual capability. The universe was about to learn that humanity was far more than it appeared, a civilization that could transform challenge into opportunity with remarkable speed and precision. As the first day of preparation drew to a close, something was becoming clear. This was not going to be a simple conflict. This was going to be a comprehensive demonstration of human potential, a moment that would redefine humanity's place in the galactic community. The first stage of the human counteroffensive began not with weapons, but with information. Quantum communication networks sprang to life, creating a complex web of data collection and analysis that spread across multiple star systems with breathtaking speed. Captain Michael Rodriguez, a distant cousin of Elena Rodriguez from the Nightingale, sat in the central command module of the ISV Prometheus. The ship's bridge was unlike any traditional military vessel. Holographic interfaces danced around him, showing real-time data streams from thousands of sources. Each display was a living, breathing map of potential strategic approaches. "Initiate deep scan protocol," he commanded, his voice calm and precise. The Prometheus's advanced sensor arrays began to pulse with quantum-encrypted scanning waves. These were not simple electromagnetic scans, but complex probability matrices that could detect and predict potential threat signatures across multiple dimensional spectrums. In the Global Strategic Command Center, Director Aisha Okik watched as the first layers of the counteroffensive took shape. This was not going to be a simple retaliatory strike. Every movement, every decision was carefully calculated to achieve multiple objectives simultaneously. The initial targets were not military installations, but communication networks. Using quantum entanglement communication technology, human operatives began to infiltrate and map the communication infrastructure of the civilization responsible for the attack. It was a surgical approach, gathering intelligence, creating disruption, but avoiding direct physical confrontation. Dr. Elena Volkov monitored the operation from her research facility. The quantum infiltration systems she had helped develop were working perfectly. Each communication node became a potential source of information, a point of strategic advantage. The technology allowed human operators to listen, analyze, and understand without leaving a traditional trace. Artificial intelligence systems worked in perfect synchronization with human strategists. Machine learning algorithms predicted potential response patterns, creating multiple strategic scenarios faster than any biological intelligence could process. Each potential outcome was analyzed, evaluated, and prepared for with remarkable precision. The first visible action came as a series of precisely targeted electromagnetic pulses. These were not destructive attacks, but carefully calibrated signals designed to disrupt specific communication channels. It was a demonstration of capability, a way of saying, "We can reach you anywhere, at any time." In the orbital research stations, teams of xenolinguists and communication specialists worked to decode and understand the communication patterns they were intercepting. Every intercepted message, every fragment of data, was a potential key to understanding the motivations behind the original attack. Captain Rodriguez watched as the Prometheus moved with an almost organic fluidity. The ship's adaptive hull could reconfigure in milliseconds, responding to potential threat vectors before traditional sensor systems could even detect them. It was more than a vessel of war. It was a living demonstration of human technological evolution. The counteroffensive was multidimensional. While communication networks were being mapped and partially disrupted, other teams were working on alternative approaches. Diplomatic channels remained open, but they were now backed by a comprehensive display of technological capability. Dr. Jackson Williams coordinated the broader strategic approach. "We're not looking to escalate," he explained to his team. "We're looking to communicate. Our objective is to demonstrate capability while seeking understanding." Quantum encrypted communication channels began to broadcast carefully constructed messages. These were not threats, but carefully worded communications that demonstrated humanity's technological sophistication and commitment to finding a resolution. Each message was a complex mathematical and linguistic puzzle designed to communicate on multiple levels simultaneously. The ISV Prometheus moved through space with a precision that seemed to defy traditional understanding of spaceflight. Its quantum adaptive propulsion system could change trajectory faster than any known tracking system could predict. It was both a weapon and a message, a demonstration of human potential. As the first day of the counteroffensive drew to a close, something became increasingly clear. This was not going to be a traditional conflict. This was going to be a comprehensive demonstration of human capability, intellectual, technological, and strategic. The universe was about to learn something important about humanity, and the lesson would be delivered with intelligence, precision, and an unwavering commitment to understanding. The counteroffensive had begun, and it was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen before. The true complexity of human technological capability began to unfold in ways that defied conventional understanding. Dr. Area Nakamura stood in the central research hub of the Quantum Adaptive Systems Laboratory, watching as multiple layers of technological innovation converged into a single breathtaking demonstration of human potential. Nanite swarm systems represented the pinnacle of this technological marvel. Unlike traditional robotic or mechanical systems, these microscopic machines operated with a collective intelligence that bordered on biological complexity. Each nanite was a tiny computational node, capable of independent decision-making, while simultaneously working in perfect harmony with millions of its counterparts. The first comprehensive deployment began in the complex space surrounding the initial attack site. Billions of nanites dispersed through space, creating a living, adaptive network of sensors and potential interaction points. They moved like a liquid intelligence, capable of reconfiguring themselves instantaneously to address multiple challenges simultaneously. Dr. Marcus Chen, a specialist in adaptive biotechnology, explained the system to his team. "These are not simple machines," he emphasized, pointing to the holographic displays that showed the nanite swarm's complex movements. "They're a form of distributed intelligence. Each unit can make independent decisions, but they move with a collective purpose that mimics biological systems." The quantum-locked targeting systems represented another leap in technological innovation. Traditional weapon systems relied on predictive algorithms and sensor data. These new systems could actually manipulate probability fields, creating defensive and offensive capabilities that seemed to defy the traditional laws of physics. In the orbital research stations, teams of physicists and engineers worked in perfect synchronization. Every breakthrough was immediately shared across global research networks, creating a collaborative intelligence that moved faster than any single research team could comprehend. The ISV Prometheus became the primary demonstration platform for these technological innovations. Its adaptive hull could reconfigure at the molecular level, responding to potential threat vectors before traditional sensor systems could even detect them. Energy systems could be redirected, absorbed, or dissipated with mathematical precision that seemed almost magical. Dr. Elena Volkov watched the initial test results with a mixture of scientific excitement and professional caution. The quantum entanglement communication systems were performing beyond even the most optimistic projections. Information could be transmitted across vast distances instantaneously, with encryption methods that made traditional decryption techniques completely obsolete. Military strategists quickly realized that this was more than just a technological advantage. It was a fundamental reimagining of how intelligence and communication could work. The nanite swarm systems could gather, process, and respond to information faster than any traditional computational system. The most remarkable aspect was the system's adaptability. Each nanite could learn, adjust, and reconfigure based on environmental challenges. They could break down complex problems into millions of simultaneous computational pathways, finding solutions that would take traditional systems centuries to discover. In the Antarctic Research Complex, xenotechnology experts began to understand the broader implications. This wasn't just a technological system. It was a new form of intelligence. The nanite swarms could potentially communicate, learn, and adapt in ways that blurred the line between technological and biological systems. Dr. Jackson Williams coordinated the broader strategic approach. "We're demonstrating something more than technological capability," he explained during a global briefing. "We're showing a fundamental approach to problem solving that prioritizes adaptability, collective intelligence, and nuanced response. The quantum-locked targeting systems could predict potential conflict scenarios with such precision that they seemed to be reading the future. Enemy defensive systems would find themselves facing solutions to problems they hadn't even considered yet. It was a level of strategic thinking that transcended traditional military doctrine. Communication networks pulsed with carefully controlled information. The demonstration was not about aggression, but about potential. Humanity was showing its capacity for innovation, adaptability, and collective problem-solving. As the first comprehensive test of these systems concluded, something became increasingly clear. This was not just a technological breakthrough. This was a fundamental reimagining of what intelligence could be. The universe was about to learn that humanity's true strength was not in its ability to destroy, but in its capacity to understand, adapt, and solve complex challenges with unprecedented creativity and precision. The technological symphony had begun, and it was unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed before. The psychological dimension of humanity's response began to unfold with remarkable subtlety. Dr. Amara Okonkwo, head of the Interstellar Communication and Cultural Studies Department, understood that the most profound battles were fought not with weapons, but with information and understanding. Advanced communication systems, developed by her team, were unlike any previous diplomatic or intelligence tools. These were complex, multi-layered communication networks that could transmit information across multiple levels of comprehension simultaneously. Each message was a carefully constructed ecosystem of meaning, designed to penetrate not just communication barriers, but fundamental cultural perceptions. In the Global Diplomatic Coordination Center, teams of linguists, psychologists, and communication specialists worked in perfect synchronization. They were creating communication strategies that went far beyond traditional diplomatic approaches. Each transmission was a carefully crafted puzzle, a mathematical and linguistic construct that could communicate on multiple levels simultaneously. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, a specialist in xenopsychology, led the team developing these advanced communication protocols. "We're not just sending messages," she explained to her colleagues. "We're creating bridges of understanding. Each communication is a complex invitation to dialogue, designed to challenge existing perceptions while offering a path to mutual comprehension." The quantum-encrypted communication channels began to broadcast messages that were scientific marvels in their own right. These were not simple diplomatic communiques, but intricate information packages that could adapt their core message based on the recipient's communication patterns and cultural context. Artificial intelligence systems worked alongside human specialists, analyzing every potential communication pathway. Machine learning algorithms could predict potential misunderstandings and preemptively adjust communication strategies with unprecedented precision. In orbital research stations, xenolinguists broke down the communication signatures intercepted from the civilization responsible for the attack. Each fragment of communication was analyzed not just for its immediate meaning, but for its deeper cultural and psychological implications. The psychological warfare was subtle and sophisticated. Instead of threats or aggressive posturing, the human communication strategy focused on demonstrating capability while simultaneously offering paths to understanding. Each message was a complex demonstration of technological and intellectual sophistication. Dr. Jackson Williams coordinated the broader strategic approach. "Our objective is not to intimidate," he emphasized during a global briefing. "We want to communicate our capacity for understanding, our commitment to peaceful resolution, and our technological sophistication." Holographic communication networks began to display carefully constructed information sequences. These were not traditional broadcasts, but adaptive information systems that could modify their content based on real-time analysis of reception and interpretation. The most remarkable aspect of this approach was its fundamental humanity. Despite the technological sophistication, each communication carried an underlying message of potential cooperation, of mutual understanding. It was a demonstration that technological capability could coexist with profound empathy and a desire for peaceful resolution. Quantum entanglement communication systems allowed for transmission of incredibly complex information packages. These were not just messages, but entire contextual frameworks that could provide deep insights into human culture, scientific understanding, and philosophical perspectives. Dr. Amara Okonkwo watched as the first comprehensive communication sequences were transmitted. Each package was a carefully constructed narrative that demonstrated humanity's technological capabilities while simultaneously offering a path to mutual understanding. The communication strategy went beyond traditional diplomatic approaches. It was a comprehensive demonstration of human intellectual and technological potential. Each transmission was simultaneously an invitation to dialogue and a subtle demonstration of capabilities. Artificial intelligence systems analyzed potential response scenarios with remarkable depth. They could predict potential misunderstandings, cultural barriers, and communication challenges with unprecedented accuracy. The goal was not to create conflict, but to build bridges of understanding. As the first wave of advanced communications concluded, something became increasingly clear. This was not a traditional approach to conflict resolution. This was a comprehensive demonstration of human intellectual and communicative potential. The universe was about to learn that humanity's true strength lay not in its ability to destroy, but in its capacity to understand, communicate, and find paths to mutual comprehension. The psychological symphony had begun, and it was unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed before. The Epsilon Eridani system became the stage for a confrontation that would redefine galactic understanding. Captain Michael Rodriguez guided the ISV Prometheus with a precision that seemed to defy the traditional laws of space combat. The ship moved not like a weapon of war, but like a living, adaptive intelligence. Quantum adaptive sensor arrays created a comprehensive map of the battlefield that extended far beyond traditional three-dimensional space. Each potential conflict vector was analyzed simultaneously, with millions of potential scenarios processed in microscopic timeframes. The ship's systems were not simply responding to threats. They were anticipating and neutralizing them before they could fully materialize. Dr. Elena Volkov monitored the engagement from the primary research station. Her team had spent decades developing the adaptive technologies that were now being put to their ultimate test. The Prometheus was more than a ship. It was a comprehensive demonstration of human technological and strategic potential. The first wave of enemy vessels approached with what appeared to be standard attack formations. Traditional military doctrine would have suggested predictable defensive maneuvers, but the Prometheus responded in a way that defied all expected patterns. Nanite swarm systems deployed from the ship's exterior, creating a dynamic defensive network that could reconfigure instantaneously. These were not simple protective shields, but an adaptive intelligence that could break down, redirect, and neutralize incoming weapon systems with mathematical precision. Quantum-locked targeting systems reached out across the battlefield, creating probability fields that seemed to manipulate the very fabric of spatial engagement. Enemy vessels found their most sophisticated attack vectors rendered ineffective before they could even be fully implemented. Dr. Marcus Chen watched the battle unfold from the Research Coordination Center. "It's not about destruction," he explained to his colleagues. "It's about demonstrating a comprehensive approach to conflict resolution that prioritizes minimal damage and maximum understanding." The battle became a complex dance of technological sophistication. Each movement by the Prometheus was simultaneously a defensive action, a communication attempt, and a demonstration of technological capability. Enemy vessels found themselves facing a level of adaptive intelligence that seemed to anticipate their actions before they could even be conceived. Communication channels remained open throughout the engagement. The quantum-encrypted transmission systems continued to broadcast messages of potential dialogue, even as the ship demonstrated its defensive capabilities. It was a profound statement about humanity's approach to conflict, always leaving a path to understanding. Artificial intelligence systems worked in perfect synchronization with human operators. The battle was not just a physical engagement, but a complex computational problem being solved in real time. Machine learning algorithms processed potential scenarios faster than biological intelligence could comprehend. The turning point came not through overwhelming force, but through a demonstration of unprecedented adaptive capability. Enemy vessels found their most sophisticated systems rendered ineffective, their communication networks disrupted, their strategic approaches anticipated and neutralized. Director Aisha Okik watched from the Global Strategic Command Center. "We're not seeking to destroy," she emphasized during the live briefing. "We're demonstrating our capacity to protect ourselves while maintaining an open path to communication." The Prometheus moved through the battlefield with an almost organic fluidity. Its adaptive hull could reconfigure at the molecular level, absorbing and redirecting energy in ways that seemed to defy traditional understanding of physics. Each defensive action was simultaneously a message, a demonstration of technological sophistication that went far beyond simple military capability. As the engagement drew to a close, something became increasingly clear. This was not a traditional battle, but a comprehensive demonstration of human potential. The enemy had attacked a humanitarian vessel, expecting a simple, predictable response. Instead, they found themselves facing a civilization that could respond with unprecedented intelligence, adaptability, and restraint. Quantum communication networks continued to broadcast messages of potential dialogue throughout the engagement. Each transmission was a subtle invitation to understanding, a demonstration that technological capability could coexist with a profound commitment to peaceful resolution. The Epsilon Eridani system fell silent, but it was a silence filled with a new understanding, a recognition that humanity represented something far more complex than a simple military force. The universe was about to learn that true strength was not about destruction, but about the capacity to understand, adapt, and find paths to mutual comprehension. The turning point had arrived, and it was unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed before. The aftermath of the conflict transformed more than just the immediate political landscape. Director Aisha Okik stood before the United Galactic Council, her presence radiating a calm that spoke of something far more profound than military victory. The chambers, filled with representatives from countless civilizations, listened with an intensity that bordered on reverence. What had begun as an unprovoked attack on a humanitarian vessel had become a comprehensive lesson in galactic diplomacy, technological sophistication, and moral complexity. Dr. Elena Rodriguez presented the comprehensive report. It was not a list of battle statistics or territorial claims, but a detailed analysis of the entire engagement. Each page demonstrated humanity's commitment to understanding, to preservation of life, and to finding paths of communication, even in the most challenging circumstances. The holographic displays showed not just the technological capabilities that had been demonstrated, but the underlying philosophical approach that had guided human response. Every action, every communication, Every strategic decision had been made with a profound commitment to minimal damage and maximum understanding. Representatives from multiple star systems studied the report with increasing complexity. The attack on the UNHS Nightingale had been intended to demonstrate vulnerability. Instead, it had revealed a civilization that was far more nuanced, far more capable than anyone had anticipated. Dr. Marcus Chen explained the technological innovations that had been demonstrated. The quantum adaptive systems, the nanite swarm technologies, the communication protocols. These were not simply weapons or defensive systems. They were comprehensive problem-solving approaches that represented a fundamental reimagining of conflict resolution. The diplomatic approach was equally sophisticated. Humanity did not seek retribution or territorial expansion. Instead, they offered a comprehensive framework for understanding, for communication, for potential future cooperation. Each diplomatic communication was a carefully constructed invitation to dialogue. Dr. Amara Okonkwo led the xenocultural analysis team. Their report demonstrated how humanity had approached the conflict not as a military engagement, but as a complex communication challenge. Every technological demonstration had been simultaneously a defensive action and an invitation to deeper understanding. The fate of the civilization responsible for the attack was not total destruction, but comprehensive restructuring. Diplomatic channels remained open. Technological and cultural exchange became a primary objective. The goal was not punishment, but transformation. In the orbital research stations, teams continued to analyze the engagement. The ISV Prometheus became more than just a weapon of defense. It was a symbol of humanity's approach to galactic challenges. Its adaptive technologies, its communication systems, its fundamental design spoke of a civilization that saw conflict as an opportunity for understanding. Director O'Cake's final statement to the United Galactic Council became an instant historical document. "We do not seek to dominate," she explained, her voice calm and precise. "We seek to understand. We seek to grow. We seek to create pathways of communication that transcend traditional conflict." The technological demonstrations had revealed something profound about human potential. It was not simply about military capability, but about a comprehensive approach to problem-solving that prioritized understanding, adaptation, and minimal damage. Researchers began to study the engagement from multiple perspectives. Xenosociologists, technological experts, diplomatic historians, all found themselves fascinated by the comprehensive approach humanity had demonstrated. This was not a simple military victory, but a fundamental reimagining of galactic interaction. The attack on the UNHS Nightingale had been intended to demonstrate human vulnerability. Instead, it had revealed human potential. Every technological system, every communication protocol, every strategic decision had demonstrated a civilization that was far more complex, far more sophisticated than anyone had anticipated. Diplomatic channels began to transform. The technologies demonstrated by humanity became subjects of intense study and potential collaboration. Multiple star systems began to reconsider their approach to conflict resolution, to communication, to understanding. The UNHS Nightingale, once a symbol of destruction, became a memorial to humanity's commitment to humanitarian efforts. A reconstruction was planned, not as an act of defiance, but as a continued demonstration of the principles of care, of preservation, of hope. As the initial reports were finalized, something became increasingly clear. This was more than a conflict resolution. This was a comprehensive demonstration of a new approach to galactic interaction, one that prioritized understanding, adaptation, and mutual growth. The universe was about to enter a new era of communication, of potential, of possibility. Humanity had not just survived. They had transformed the very understanding of what conflict resolution could be.